Welcome to the Faithless Father channel, everyone, where you gain insight on religion and philosophy. I'm the Faithless Father, and today we are talking about messiahs before Jesus.
Messiahs before Jesus? Jesus wasn't the first Messiah?
No, actually, Jesus was not the first Messiah. The first Messiah before Jesus, Simon of Perea. He will be the first Messiah in this series. I'm going to put out a series for all the messiahs before Jesus, and also another series for all the messiahs after Jesus. So this video will be covering the first messiah figure for our purposes here before Jesus. It's a little hard to get an exact timeline on these messiah figures, but for our purposes here, this will be the first messiah that we will cover. So in this series, I will cover all individuals that we know of who were called Messiah, acted messianically, or seemed to have messianic aspirations before the ministry of Jesus of Nazareth. Each video will review all available textual evidence with regard to that Messiah figure and relevant thoughts from prominent scholars, providing a sketch of this individual's life. Each of these videos in the series will not include a comprehensive definition of the word Messiah, its origins, its cultural connotations, or its historical uses. If you're interested in that content, I will be making a video specifically covering that content. So make sure to keep your eye out for that video, as it will be coming at some point in the future. I'll probably title it something like, "What is a Messiah?" or something like that. But like I said, this video will not treat that general topic, but rather the specific activity of one Messiah figure before Jesus, the first Messiah figure in this series of an overview of all the Messiahs before Jesus of Nazareth. For those of you who are very well read on this issue, which I'm sure there are many of you, classifying Simon of Perea as a messianic pretender is not due to the Jesselson stone. This artifact, for me, is on a little bit of tenuous ground. If you want to know more about the Jesselson stone, I will be making a video about that specifically as well, so make sure to keep an eye out for that and subscribe so you don't miss out on that video. For now, just understand that I'm not heavily persuaded by the stone or by Israel Null. So that brings us to the meat of the video, which is super exciting for me, and it probably, if you clicked on this video, it probably is for you. A lot of Christians actually don't know that there were any messiahs except for Jesus. They think that he was like the only one, and most Christians, if they think about it, they have a pretty static understanding of what Messiah means. So we're going to travel back in time to 4 BCE, before the Common Era. King Herod has just died. Roman Palestine is in turmoil. There are many problems in the region. The Jews aren't happy. It is at that time that Simon of Perea rose up to be king. This information is found in 2 ancient authors, Josephus and Tacitus, found in 3 different texts. The first source that I'll review here is from Tacitus' Histories, and this is found in book 5, chapter 9. This was written circa 110 CE, 100 to 110 CE. And it is written, "On Herod's death, one Simon, without waiting for the approbation of the emperor, usurped the title of king. He was punished by Quintilius Varus, then governor of Syria, and the nation, with its liberties curtailed, was divided into 3 provinces under the sons of Herod." Again, that's Tacitus' Histories, Book 5, Chapter 9. We also find information about Simon of Perea in Josephus. The first source that I'll cite is The Jewish War, Book 2, Chapter 4, Verse 2. And this was written sometime between 75 to 79 CE by Josephus. And I quote, "In Perea also, Simon, one of the servants to be king, relied upon the handsome appearance and tallness of his body, put a diadem upon his own head also, and he also went about with a company of robbers that he had gotten together and burnt down the royal palace that was at Jericho and many other costly edifices. Besides, and procured himself very easily spoils by rapine, as snatching them out of the fire. and he had soon burnt down all the fine edifices, if Gratus, the captain of the foot of the king's party, had not taken the Trachonite archers and most warlike of Sebast, and met the man. His footmen were slain in the battle in abundance. Gratus also cut to pieces Simon himself. So this guy was killed by the Romans as well, as he was trying to rise to power. Was cut to pieces Simon himself as he was flying along a straight valley when he gave him an oblique stroke upon his neck. So he sliced him in the neck. Here we read in Jewish war. As he ran away and brake it. The royal palaces that were near Jordan at Beth-Aramtha were also burnt down by some other of the seditious that came out of Perea. The other source that we read about Simon of Perea's activity is in Josephus as well, in a book called Antiquities of the Jews. This is in book 17, chapter 10, verse 6. And Antiquities was written circa 93 CE. There was also Simon, who had been a slave. And then so in Jewish Antiquities and the Jewish War, you do read parallel accounts quite often. So this is kind of a parallel account that he also wrote in Antiquities of the Jews. There was also Simon, who had been a slave of Herod the king, but in other respects a comely person of a tall and robust body. He was one that was much superior to others of his order, and had great things committed to his care. This man was elevated at the disorderly state of things, and was so bold as to put a diadem on his head, while a certain number of the people stood by him, and by them he was declared to be a king. So his followers declared him to be the king of the Jews, and thought himself more worthy of that dignity than anyone else. He burnt down the royal palace at Jericho and plundered what was left in it. He also set fire to many of the other kings' houses in several places of the country, and utterly destroyed them, and permitted those that were with him to take what was left in them for a prey. And he would have done greater things unless care had been taken to repress him immediately. For Gratus, when he had joined himself to some Roman soldiers, took the forces he had with him and met Simon. And after a great and long fight, no small part of those that came from Perea, who were a disordered body of men, and fought rather in a bold than skillful manner, were destroyed. And also Simon had saved himself by flying away through a certain valley, yet Gratus overtook him and cut off his head. The royal palace also at Amethyst by the river Jordan was burnt down by a party of men that were got together, as were those belonging to Simon. And thus did a great and wild fury spread itself over the nation, because they had no king to keep the multitude in good order, and because those foreigners who came to reduce the seditious to sobriety did, on the contrary, set them more in a flame, because of the injuries they offered them, and the avaricious management of their affairs. Again, that's Josephus, Antiquities of the Jews, book 17, chapter 6, verse 6. Book 17, chapter 10, verse 6. So although Josephus does not detail the nature of Simon's behavior as divinely appointed or traditionally formal, this does not mean the aspiring king was not acting messianically. The culture and historical context in which we find Simon of Perea, the fact that his followers declared him a king and that he used a diadem, he put a diadem on his own head, to indicate that he was acting messianically in a certain form. If his followers had written a record of his activity, and if that record survived through the millennia, we might be seeing that picture more clearly. It's also a possibility that if Simon had been more successful in his efforts to combat the Romans and bring sovereignty to the Jews, we would be reading a more direct identification of him as Messiah. This was the case with Simon bar Kokhba, circa 132 CE, who led one of the strongest and most promising rebellions against Rome in Jewish history, and of other messiahs who lived prior to Jesus' ministry as well, who we will be talking about in other videos, so make sure to stay tuned for that, and subscribe so you don't miss out on those videos as well. It is unknown if Simon of Perea was of Davidic descent, and it is not clear whether Simon had Maccabean ancestry either. In a short study by William Farmer, we read that we have no positive evidence linking Simon of Perea with the Maccabean family in any way, whatever. He also says, and the fact that he is referred to as a former slave or servant in Herod's household weighs against his being of a royal Maccabean descent, unquote. We see no evidence tying him to royal lineage. I will definitely put a link to all of my sources and stuff below. I'm getting better at that now, so make sure to go and do some of the reading. And also, if you guys are interested in an article, like, let me know. I've purchased quite a few articles. If you're interested in a subject and you want access to that scholarly review or opinion, ask me about it in the comments. I might have already purchased an article in the past or have a book about it, and I can review the topic quite readily with relevant comments from prominent scholars. So definitely let me know.
These books aren't cheap.
Most articles that you buy are at least 25 bucks. And like I said, I will always provide my view and opinion on things, but I will also give you quality sources and citations from scholars as well. If you would like to contribute to the channel, consider visiting my Patreon. I'll put a link down in the description. In each video of the series, I will be doing a comparative analysis of how many words we find written in Josephus about Jesus of Nazareth versus how many words we find in Josephus written about the Messiah figure of the video. So in all of modern Josephus, the total number of words written about the Messiah figure Jesus of Nazareth are 187 in English. This includes the words even remotely included in a description of Jesus by Josephus and all questionable and disputed text in the Testimonium Flavianum. In reality, Josephus wrote far fewer words than 187 words about Jesus, but I won't complete an analysis of the Testimonium Flavianum here. I will be making a video about the Testimonium Flavianum in the future and what the scholars think about that and my view on it, so make sure to keep an eye out for that. So in comparison to the generous 187 words in English that we find in Josephus about Jesus of Nazareth, we find 515 words about the Messiah figure Simon of Perea. This means Josephus wrote at least about 3 times as much regarding Simon of Perea than Jesus of Nazareth. So that's gonna wrap up the video. Make sure to leave your thoughts down in the comments and any ideas you have, any arguments to the contrary, any historical information I missed, anything like that, go ahead and throw it down in the comments. Thank you so much for visiting the Faithless Father channel. Make sure to subscribe, and we will see you next time.